Wow! What's happening, everybody? It's your boy. Yes, sir. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. If I could sing, boy, it'll be dangerous. Listen, thank you guys so much for joining us back for Let's Talk with Stanley Doucette. I am absolutely excited about this podcast. Why? I'm bringing my energy all the way down because this podcast is going to deal with some deep rooted things. And we're going to deal with them head on today. Why am I sharing that? Because I've been looking around the world and seeing some things that I'm not too excited about. But what I wanted to do is just share some things with everybody so we can continue to flourish, so we can continue to be brilliant, so we can continue to be all that and then some. See, we are here at Let's Talk with Stanley Doucette, and we want to make sure that this thing is hitting at the right place, at the right time, at the right moment for the right people. Everybody that's logging in today, I say thank you. So let's go ahead and start the show. My name is Stanley Doucette. I am fortunate enough to be your host today and next day and the following. Well, see, I just want to be your host. I'm excited to get into this. I'm a little nervous because it's going to deal with some heavy things. But just trust and believe we're going to get to this thing and get through this thing, but it's going to help identify some things that we don't really necessarily want to discuss or talk about. So today, make sure you have something to take notes with. Make sure you have something to write with. If you're driving, keep driving. Don't worry about it. It'll be recorded and listed, and you can go back and listen to it as many times as you can. But now that we're about to get into this thing, I can feel the weight of this. So I wanted to make sure we're clear up front that it is going to be a heavy podcast, but we're going to have fun with it and we're going to get through it. I may even tell a story or two, and we're going to get through it at the very best and the top of everything. So let's do these commercials. Some of you guys already know that I'm on all of the social media platforms. Those that don't know, I am. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube. Matter of fact, guys, do me a favor, if you would, please, please, please go to my YouTube channel. And if you see something that you like, just follow us on the YouTube channel. It's under Let's Talk with Stanley Doucette. That's LET''S. Let's Talk with Stanley Doucette. And go there and just like, subscribe, share it with people. If you see something that's some information that I've done and shared that you want to share with others, so just do that for your boy if you don't mind. One, to everybody that's out there getting ready. I am in a unique situation right now. And that unique situation is this podcast. It's heavy on my heart. It's heavy. I feel the energy of a lot of people that's around me, and some of them have been heavy for a few weeks, even some of them a few months. And I wanted to do something that I think would open up some space and allow them to see some things in a positive manner and not as a negative manner. So let me get into this, right? So the name of our podcast today is, you ready? The Other Side of Emotional Pain. Let me say that again. The other side of emotional pain. Now, I'm not going to deal with every single emotional pain out there, but I want to deal with some of them and at least identify and us talk about it as a family and begin to open up some things that we may not possibly have ever spoken about. But we want to get to those things to make sure that we're doing the very best that we can. Now, I'm going to identify a few of them, but first thing I want to do is talk about just some signs of emotional suffering. Because here's why I did this. Here's why I actually wanted to do this, right? I have for the last few days and weeks been noticing people kind of walking around in a mummy-like state, just not, just they're just blah, just doing nothing. They're just blah. It's like routine, they're angry, they're frustrated, they're sad, all of these other emotions. And I started to think, how can we do something to empower them? How can we do something to lift them up? And one thing I thought about is let's do this on the podcast and share some things that's there, right? Because if you look at what's going on in the world and you don't have anything to lift you or hold you or any type of covering or any type of power from within, you can absolutely fall. I'm going to share a story today. I've been going back and forth, but now that I didn't say it out of my mouth, I'm going to share a story that it literally gripped me, if you will. And I want to share that story in all of what happened, right? So let's talk about the signs, some signs of emotional suffering. First of all, one, it's not in any order. So just you can, however you want to take notes, you can do it. So number one, personality changes in the way that seems different to that person. So if your person started acting erratic or different, all of those things, I'm not saying one day he does something or she does something, you're like, oh, you're old. This is a sign. No, no, no. But if you're starting to see that person go down a certain hole or a certain space, and they continuously doing, they may be suffering from something, right? So we want to check on that person. Another one is agitation. Well, that might be me all the time, but agitation or displaying anger, anxiety, or moodiness. One of the things I wanted to talk about is when somebody displaying anger, I want to just kind of stay there for a second. Somebody displaying anger, in my opinion, 100% of the time, that anger is caused from something else. It may be caused by you, but most of the time it's from something else. And whatever that something else is, have overtaken that person at least for a few moments or a few weeks or whatever it is to create that space of anger. Well, our belief is we need to do something to offset that so they don't create that space of anger, right? Another one is isolation or withdrawal. They just kind of withdrawing from everybody. They're isolated or whatever it may be. That's where it's at. Poor self-care, engaging. Here's another one, feeling of being overwhelmed or worthless. Listen, if we're going to start being honest, and that last one, when you start talking about overwhelmed or worthless, I'm going to tell you as a matter of fact, there are days where I just feel absolutely worthless. Let me say that again. There are days where I feel absolutely worthless. Now, let me pause here and say this, right? For whatever reason, I've just sensed people saying, yeah, I have cousin so-and-so or aunt so-and-so or uncle so-and-so or brother so-and-so or sister so-and-so. And yeah, they're feeling like that. I don't want this podcast to reflect other people. I want you to look at yourself and be 100% honest. And if it identifies or you identify with something, then begin to resolve whatever that is. A lot of times when we have these heavy conversations, we always look at everybody else, but we never look at ourselves. Today, let's look at ourselves because this is heavy. Here's the story. So the other day, I was going to a particular establishment to get my oil change, right? So I'm walking around getting my oil change, and I'm walking around while my vehicle is getting its oil change, right? So it's getting its oil change. We're doing what we're doing, and I'm just walking around. So I'm on the phone, running my mouth, cutting up, laughing, hee and ha ha, and just having a great conversation with a friend of mine. And as I was just walking around, just aimlessly, and just waiting for the car. So when I got to a certain spot, I want you guys to hear this. I want you guys to hear this. We had a very nice establishment. And as I'm walking, I saw something that caught my eye on the ground. So I walked further, I walked closer to it to investigate what is this I see that have attracted me in such a way. So I walked, and what I saw on the ground, I want you guys to hear me. I actually saw a syringe or a needle, however you want to say it, syringe, needle, whatever. It was whatever, however you want to say it. Now, Most of the time you see this on the ground, wherever it's at, whether it's a great establishment or whether it's somewhere that's not so good of an establishment. So I see this on the ground, and I'm talking mid-sentence. And when I see it, it's like, oh, that's a syringe, or oh, that's a needle. And immediately I was gripped with grief. I mean, deep grief. I mean, the weight of what it occurred literally started to draw tears. I want you guys to hear me. That's the energy that was around that space where that needle was or that syringe was. And I literally stopped in mid-sentence, and I was off. I couldn't understand it. And immediately, this is me. I immediately began to pray for the individual. And I began to immediately, just receive downloads and listening to what was coming to me. And what was shared with me it was somebody that gave up. They were sick and tired of life. And to cope with the pain, they began to inject themselves with a drug. Now, I didn't look to examine whether it was heroin, cocaine, or whatever else it may have been. But it gripped me such to where in mid-sentence, I stopped and started to almost weep heavily. Now, why am I sharing that with you? Because when we start to look at these particular things that we're going to talk about today, I don't want it to grip you to where you can't function. But what I want to do is identify whatever those things are so we can honestly address them. We may need help. We may not need help. But regardless of what it is, we need to expose that particular energy or that particular spirit so it doesn't grip you to where you can't function and be authentically you. See, as I saw the syringe and I began to pray for that individual and began to understand what it is that had happened at that spot, whether it was a few minutes before, a few hours before, or a few days before, but someone had gave up on life. So I don't want us collectively, individually, to give up on life. So when I'm asking today that please be in tune to who you are, and let's not sidestep this and look at your neighbor or your cousin or somebody else, but please, let's look inwardly today. Let's look at ourselves to make sure that we're better. Because that individual who decided to inject themselves with a foreign substance into their body to just get away from the pain is something we need to address. We're looking at the war going on right now. We're looking at, in America, economic downturns. We're looking at people suffering. We're looking at all of the negativity on TV to literally put us in a space or a state that's not healthy. Whoever your creator is, he did not put you in here to have levels of horror or levels of depression or levels of pain that you can't move towards and have the ability to do things with. So today's podcast is about us individually. Matter of fact, after I finished in that particular space, I had to literally check myself to make sure I was okay. I heard a friend of mine, Calvin Foster, say this. He said, when people ask, how are you doing? And most people say, oh, I'm doing good, I'm doing fine. But here's the question. What if you answer that question honestly in a particular day, you're not doing well? It is okay if you're not doing well. I am fighting something. I am battling something. One of the words that we talk about today is a word called grief. So if something happened and you died, or excuse me, not you died, but someone close to you have died or moved on or went on to glory, whatever you want to articulate it as, right? And you're not doing good. It's okay to say, I am not doing good today. It took me listen, I'm gonna be open today. It took me the longest when I was going through something to say, help me. Not help somebody else, not help the cousin, help me. I remember so many stories that I can give you on and on and on to where I was dealing with grief, but I was giving the old college try and I was hard and I was doing well and I was rocking and all of that stuff. But deep down, I was suffering. I was hurting. I was miserable. And all I had to do was just say, help me. And so, I talked to a friend of mine and I talked to my cousin, and, people that who understands you, people that can hold up your weight, people that understand it is okay. Let me tell you guys an honest story. You're talking about suffering from, and I don't know why I'm really nervous about sharing this, but I'm going to share it today. So, I was talking about in yesteryear. Yesteryear, I was a police officer, as I call it, my former life. I was a police officer, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that go on, and a lot of people understand that military men and women, police officers, men and women, we suffer through a lot of things because we see things firsthand. It's not covered, it's not blacked out. We see it firsthand in the flesh, right? So this particular, I was going through a bad stretch in life. Let me say it, because I know a lot of times people think the individuals that's presenting or on podcasts or on TV or all that stuff, we don't go through things. Well, let me just say, I was going through a hell of a lot. I mean, I was going through a lot, a lot here. And I remember my cousin got killed. Let me just share the story with you guys. I want y'all to understand where we come from and why we share emotions or why we share these stories. So my cousin got killed. I was off from work at the time. My ex-wife, she had the car. We only had one car, and she was at work. I was at home, received a call, got the horrible news, right? So I'm home alone by myself. Now think about that. I'm home alone by myself. Whoever have a cousin out there and somebody close to you and something like that, I pray never happens to you, but it happened to me. So I'm home alone. Number one, I'm trying to get to my family. I'm trying to get to the family. I'm trying to get to my aunt. Didn't have a vehicle. I had to call a friend to get the sergeant to allow him to bring me his car and then use his car to go and be with the family, right? While he was coming on his way, I literally broke. See, a lot of people don't want to talk about when a man breaks. I literally broke. See, I was internally hurting. And finally, I broke. And when I broke, I mean, I broke. Tears everywhere, snot everywhere. Yeah, I didn't want to say, nose run. No. Snot everywhere. Mouth all crazy. I mean, I was done. I was walking up and down the hall just like, help me, help me, help me. I didn't know anything else. Let me tell you what I did initially. Initially, what I did was I grabbed my gun, my law enforcement gun, and I literally was ready to blow my damn brains out. I mean, blow them out, because the pain was just that difficult. The pain was just that excruciating. I felt I had no one else to call and talk to. I felt I was all alone in a space by myself. I was isolated. I was depressed. I was suffering from things. I had depression, anxiety, anguish, despair. I had it all. And the only way I thought I can just get away from it is selfishly grabbing the pistol and putting it up to my head and blowing my brains out, to never have to worry about pain again. Now, with that being said, there are people out there today that's on the brink of doing the exact same thing, or on the brink of shooting themselves up with needles and foreign substances in their bodies. There are people that's out there that's hurting themselves physically, but when they're suffering emotionally. There are people out there that's crying out for help because they're not living their authentic self. We collectively as a family, we have to do something to now begin to understand, number one, am I okay? And then number two, is my brother to the left and my sister to the left and my brother to the right and my sister to the right, are they okay? And once you get to that point and understand it's bigger and it's going to be okay, then it's going to be okay. So to finish the story, I grabbed a pistol. It was a 40, a Glock 40, a Glock 40. I would give you the serial number, but I ain't going that deep. But it was a Glock 40. I put it to my head, and I was literally, it only take a few pounds of pressure to pull the trigger. I'm telling you in this detail because I want you to understand and experience where I was mentally. Psychologically, I was done. But for whatever reason, and as I say, but for the grace of God, I started to laugh. Yep, I started to laugh. I put the gun down and it just broke, just like that. And I fell on the floor and I wailed and I cried, I cried until my boy got there with the keys to let me go and see the family. Here is why I'm saying that. Because on the outside, when people looked at me, they always saw a smile. They always saw me greeting people gracefully. They always see me, just being happy and jovial. But yet at the same time, I was in pain beyond pain. It was hurting so much that I didn't know what else to do. But by the grace of God, I was spared. Why was I spared? The way I look at it is to share this podcast with people out there that may be suffering. Let me just share this with you guys because I gotta share it. You are loved. You are truly, truly loved. Whatever you're going through, you can talk to someone about it. Whether you get a counselor, whether you call me, whether you call someone that's close to you, whether you call your mom, your dad, whoever it is, call somebody and just openly say where you are. Make sure don't try to go into detail if you don't want to, but make sure you understand where you are. Make sure you understand that weight. Make sure you understand that we are literally breaking any type of negative cycles around you, because all of those things that I just shared is horrible. Feeling of emptiness. You just empty. And see, we don't want to talk about that, right? What we want to talk about is just the foolish things. But I'm feeling empty. I'm angry. I'm angry. And one of the ones that a lot of people don't want to talk about is hopelessness. When you have given up all hope, you just see everything as a negative, and there is no hope there. Here's why I wanted to do this podcast, because it's heavy. I can see it all in my face. I was thinking about this thing. But there are several people out there that's suffering. There are several people out there that's hurting. And my response to them, as a response to when I saw the actual syringe on the ground, y'all have gripped my spirit to pray with you and continue to pray for you, your families and everybody else, because you think there's no other way. But I know if yet but the grace of God's help me, he's going to help you. Even if you don't believe in God, I believe if you don't believe in God, the energy, the spirit, the earth, the atmosphere, whatever it is you believe in is going to grip you and continue to help you and strengthen you and move you forward, because you're not here to live a half life. You're not here to give up. You're not here to succumb to pressure. You're not here just to say it is not worth it. You are here to be a blessing. You are here to share peace with people. You are here to share your story with people. You are here to assist people elevate. You are here to bring people up higher and higher and higher. See, the talent that you have that's stored within is screaming to come out. And we are not going to have any other premature removals. We're going to allow whatever that grace is that's in you to come out, regardless of what it may be. Whatever that talent is going to come out and bless people, help people. Whatever that gift is, you're going to do it to the greatest of your ability. The door is now open for not the negative, but the other side, which is the positive. See, the other side of emotional pain is love. It's love. That's the other side. The other side of emotional pain is joy. The other side of emotional pain is peace. The other side of emotional pain is patience. The other side of emotional pain is kindness. The other side of emotional pain is generosity. The other side of emotional pain is faithfulness. The other side of emotional pain is gentleness. See, the other side of the pain is the blessing. See, the negative forces, whether you want to call them evil or demonic or spirits, all of those negative things, they're trying to stop you from being a blessing to others. But we're not having that today. So if you believe in who your creator is and how he blessed me and saved me from blowing my brains out and helped me move forward to bless so many other people, to be able to mentor and coach people from all over the country, all over the world, to begin to pour into people, me, little old me, that was literally willing to blow my head off, but at the same time found enough strength and something deep within me to move away from the negativity and to search out love and to just remember, the people that prayed for me, the people that consistently love on me, the people that consistently sent me joy and peace and happiness and all of those things. That's where we're landing. I did this podcast just to say that's where we're landing. We're no longer going to suffer in that manner. We're landing in the love and the peace and the joy and the patience and the kindness and the gentleness and the faithfulness and the gratefulness and all of those things. That's who we are. Why? Because you have an assignment. The Creator has moved you into your space so you can literally be the blessing to the other people. And a lot of people that know me know I have a saying: how many people blessings are attached to you? If you fail, then how many people behind you fail? Well, guess what? We're not failing. And whatever curse that somebody put over your bloodline, we break it, we sever it, and it's destroyed right now. That's it. It's over. It's done. Move forward in your grace. Move forward in your blessing. Move forward into who you really are. See, I am so inspired by people that's pulling themselves up by their bootstraps, not worrying about what's going on in Congress, and not worrying about what's going on with the naysayers, and not worrying about what's going on with the negative people, but yet consistently saying, as I go, so do you. I see the power in your vision and in your love and in your compassion. I see you being so inspired by the newfound you. My love, I love you. Beautiful, I love you. Whatever you want me to call you, I love you. See, some people don't want to say that, but I love you. This was too heavy on my heart not to share it. So whether we are friends or we never met, whether you live in Turks and Caicos or whether you live in Canada and we've never met, it doesn't matter. What I read and what I believe in the Bible, it says is that God commands us to love. And I love you. I love you. What do you want me to call you? Oh, my boo bear? I love you. I don't know, my love? I love you. My peace? I love you. My confidant? I love you. My lover? I love you. My wife? I love you. My husband? I love you. My mother? I love you. My father? I love you. Whoever, we love you. And you have to remember you are loved. See, when we first started the podcast, we talked about the heaviness because I knew what we were going to about to approach and how many things are going to stop you from listening to this podcast and try to distract you from this podcast. But as you listen to this podcast, feel the weight of chains being broken off your heart. The heaviness that you're carrying has been removed, and allow you to go in peace, grace, and wonderfulness to allow you to touch so many other people. That's all I wanted to share today, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. Yes, it's a short podcast. So many things else I wanted to say, but I can feel this is where we should at least move on to something else because we're completed this particular assignment. So for all of those that are have moved, and just say thank you. Thank you to your creator, not to me, not to Stanley, but thank you to your creator. He's the one that loves you even more than I. So thank you to your creator. I love you guys and thank you for all of the support. all of the grace, all of the wonderfulness that you have constantly shared with me. Listen, do me a favor. If you guys can please go to YouTube and just subscribe to my YouTube channel, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's LET''S. Let's Talk with Stanley Doucette. I am humbled by each and every one of you for listening to this. I'm grateful that you've had the opportunity to hear someone else share their truth. I am absolutely astonished by your strength, by your love, by your compassion, and your willingness to keep going. Thank you so much, because so many people look up to you. So many people love you. Keep going. Keep going. I promise it is going to get better. Believe in you. Believe in your creator. Believe in he did not put more on you than you can bear. And understand the glory of God will continue to rest with you. So with that being said, wherever you are, just a real quick commercial. Go and subscribe to all of my social media channels: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube. Go there. You can go to my site, Let's Talk with StanleyDoucette.com. All of the previous podcasts are there. But listen, I just want to say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Keep going and know I love you and your creator loves you as well. So now we're about to go to the outro music, and we're going to take it on back to the streets. So peace and blessings to each and every one of you. I love you and thank you. And I'll see you next week for another powerful podcast of Let's Talk with Stanley Doucette. Y'all have a great morning, evening, and afternoon. Love you guys. Take care.